Today we are taking a look at a pretty unique dial instrument cluster display for Tesla Model 3 and Model Y. This instrument cluster mimics Tesla's UI, shows critical car information directly in the front view, and comes with some of the graphic improvement we have requested in the past. We'll show detailed installation guide, feature demo, ride along to show the product in action, software updates, and end the video with our honest review. This product comes from Tesla C, a Tesla accessory company with a lot of products, but this is the first time we have reviewed any products from them. I gotta admit, they do have some of the very unique products on their site not seen anywhere else. They created a special discount code Shiba Tesla, which will save you some money. Here is the entire packaging here. Of course, you got your main cluster screen that looks like this, and it has got 3 cables coming out from here, and one of them is for the USB. And what this USB does is right here, as you see, this is the yellow USB. You plug it in right here, and this is for your software update. So we are going to be taking this out from the back. I'll show you where to take this and then leave it in the dash, underneath the dash, so that if we ever need a software update, which I don't anticipate we will need it for this display, but there is that option here. That leaves you with 2 more cords here. One is for the CAN, which is the computer, and this is your power. Now for power, there's multiple ways to get power to this, and depending on the car model that you have. If you have an Intel car, which is the older car like my Tesla Model 3, which is what we're going to install here today, but I'll also show you what the AMD one looks like. So if you have an Intel car pre-2021, this is the only thing that you are going to need. You're just going to bypass it in the front computer plug. This is the difficult plug that we have talked about, and then there are 2 output here, one for power and one for CAN, and that's it. So for Intel, the installation becomes a bit easier, but also there is a drawback that you have to reach underneath that difficult plug. Now for the AMD, you're going to need 2 different plugs here. First of all, you're going to need this plug. This is the smaller size plug. This goes into the blue plug on the side door panel, and we have shown that in other videos in the past where this just plugs in. And this one plugs into the rear central console for power. Because this plug in the front doesn't have power for the AMD chip, you're going to also need this. And this is the rear OBD port that is easy to access, and you're going to route this cable all the way to the front and then connect it with this. So for AMD, it's a little bit of work, but easier to access plug. For Intel, easier to route cable, but difficult to access plugs. I have officially removed this panel, probably more than I could ever count. We have done so many mods in the past, and how this works is very straightforward. You take a pry tool and you pry this side panel out, and this is exactly the same step for any Model 3 or Y that you have. Then we're also going to be removing this side door panel by, again, using the pry tool. It just pops out like that. Ours is probably loose because, as I said, so many times, but yours might be a little tight. Just use a pry tool like this. Then go ahead and do that exact same process on the other side. Now, this dash is free to be removed, but if you have a Model 3 or Y that was built in Austin recently or a Shanghai, you might have another screw here, a Torx screw somewhere over here. So take a look at it and then see if you find any screws here. If you do, then remove that Torx screw. I'm not talking about this Torx screw. There has to be one attached to this dash over here, kind of hidden right here. Take a look at that screw and then remove that. If you don't have that, on older cars you don't, Fremont built, I haven't seen one. And then what you do is you simply then pop this out. And another reason how you can find that screw is also if you try to push this and it's just stubborn, it wouldn't go out, then you have something in here. For me, as I have removed this so many times, this is super loose. As you see, it just pops out. Yours might do the same, or you might require a little bit of force to remove it, and this is it. So as you see, there is some pins that this is connected to, just pins over here. Now we need to safely put this aside, and let's go ahead and remove the rest of the panels for this install. To check if you have an Intel or the AMD chip, go to your vehicle setting, go to software menu, go here and press on this additional vehicle information, and this is where you are going to see, if you look closely on this pop-up here, it will show that infotainment processor is AMD Ryzen. So if you have the Intel Atom, this is where it will show that it is an Intel Atom. Now at this stage, if you have a Intel chip, you're going to go underneath over here and then remove this 4 plastic fasteners. These are push type pins. You're just going to use a pry tool. I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. So if you have an Intel chip, all you have to do is remove this. If you have an AMD chip on your car, you're also going to remove the side door panel by using a pry tool to remove this 1 plastic push type pin right here, and then your computer plug is going to be right here underneath this door panel. It's a blue plug. You just have to remove the carpet a little bit and you will reach right there, and I'll show you here in just a second what that looks like. But for Intel, you don't have to do that. Just remove this for Intel and remove those plastic fasteners that you see. So all of those you have to remove. There are 4 of them, and then let's go through that process now. Of those 4 plastic screws, you can use a pry tool to remove them. Once the panel is removed, you will see the LED light connector, which can be removed by pinching on the middle tab and pulling it out. Then the speaker plug can be disconnected by simply pulling on the plug. Now, next step on this Intel installation is we are going to pass this cable through this hole in the middle up. So there's this red and black cable, and we're just going to pass it through this opening. Just reach your hand underneath there, and then you'll be able to extract that from here. So you're just going to pull this cable as much as you can, and then there's just leave enough slack because we're going to make that computer connection here in just a second. Then also pass it through this wire harness here, so it makes it a little bit easier to install this, and just leave enough space so you can reach the dash in the back. We're not going to do anything else here. Just a very clean cabling here for Intel installation. And we have this plug. We're going to bypass it here next. This is the difficult plug we need to remove for the cars with an Intel chip. You just have to pinch on the middle tab, and while holding it down, pull the plug out. Then take the new harness and plug the male Tesla adapter into the female adapter of the new harness, and then take the new male adapter and plug it into the Tesla computer. Make sure to align the plug straight to prevent bending Tesla pins. Again, this is super tedious and requires a lot of patience. At the end, it should make a complete circuit. If you find today's video helpful, and if you haven't already done so, please help us by subscribing to the channel and also engaging with our videos. That means liking, subscribing, commenting, anything that you want to let me know in the comment section. If you just want to let me know that I did a good job in this video, or if you have any feedback, any questions, anything, smiley face, please put those in the comment section below. I really do appreciate it because it helps us rank higher in YouTube's algorithm with any engagement, sharing in different forums, anything that you can do to help us grow, because we can continuously bring videos like this in the future. Thank you very much. After you make that connection on the Intel version over here, you're going to see this red light pop up. Make sure that that red light pops up, and it will take just a second for the main screen to load. Right now it is all black. Sorry, this is very dirty. But it'll just pop up. It'll just take a second for this to load. So as you see, we have that Tesla logo pop up. You are gonna want to remove the bottom door panel for the AMD cars. And to do that, you just have to remove this plastic screw. It is in a bit of an awkward position, but you can use a pry tool and that screw comes out. Then you can just reach underneath that panel and pull it up. And there is no more screws. It should just come right out. And then the OBD plug is inside there. So that blue plug that you see is your OBD plug. It's pretty straightforward. It's just an open port there, and then you just align this, and then you push it in, and then it secures in place. So that is all you have to do for the OBD side. Again, it's an open port, and then it just plugs into place like that. Now, to get the power for the AMD chip, you're going to get this cable. This is this 26-pin connector with just the red here as an output, and you're going to reach all the way underneath that central console area right here, and we're going to remove this panel. You're just going to pry this out. Mine is super loose, so I can just use my hand, but yours is probably tight, so use a pry tool to remove this. Once you remove this, you're going to see a OBD port that looks like this. So yours is going to be a blue because it's going to be AMD, and what you're going to do is take this plug that came with the new kit and bypass it with this AMD plug over here. And how that works is that we just pinch on this middle part, and while holding it down, we're going to take the male part out. Now you're going to take this new harness, connect the male and female, then you're going to take this male end of it and then connect it to this female end and make a complete bypass. Our plug is really big here because it's an Intel car, so it doesn't match, but if you have an AMD car, that plug will match. And you just make that connection, then you can put the cover back on, and you're going to take this end. So this end of the cable, the red end of the cable, and you're gonna route that cable all the way either from here or underneath the seat. Take it all the way to the back and then through the door panel, so you can hide the cable underneath there, and take it all the way to the steering wheel panel, because that's where we're gonna make this connection. So this is just to get the power for the AMD chip. I'm not sure why they didn't use the side door panel to get power as well, or the 12-volt battery in the front, but this also makes it pretty easy just to route it from the back, just a little bit more work. Now after you have routed this cable for both the Intel and the AMD as shown in the video, what you're gonna do is take this cable towards the front over here. That's where we're going to be making that final connection with the display. And if it is too long, you can also adjust it, put some back over here so that there is not a lot of cable just hanging out over there. But once you balance that out, then what we're gonna do is take some masking tape and just center this cable over here and put the masking tape to secure the cable so that it doesn't move. The whole idea is so it doesn't move. I know you must be thinking like this tape is gonna get melted in the summer or whatever. That's fine. The goal here is just to hold this cable in the middle during the installation process. Next in our installation process is we gotta make sure that this steering wheel is all the way out and down so that it becomes easier to install. So let's go ahead and adjust that. So we're gonna put this all the way out, and then we're gonna put this all the way down so it is easier to access over here, as you can see. Then you're gonna take a pry tool and you're just going to remove this clip over here. Super easy, nothing fancy here. It is just one of those push pin type of a connector. You're going to do that here, and then you're also going to remove that clip from here. So you got those clips removed. This leather part just becomes super easy to come out. This is the part where it could be a little nerve-wracking here. We gotta remove this panel so that we can fit, as you see right here, we gotta fit this whole thing right here. And so we gotta remove this panel and we gotta transfer this leather piece here. So to do that, just reach underneath here in the back and then just apply some pressure over here, and then this pops out. Just keep in mind, mine is probably super loose, as you can imagine, because I have done this so many times. Just pops out. Yours might be a little stubborn, and to help with that, you can also use a pry tool. Just put the pry tool kind of against this gap over here and then try to pop it out. But mine is super loose at this stage. But even for me, this becomes a little bit tedious. So remove that. Now we're gonna have to transfer this leather piece, and I'll show you that next. Now transferring this leather piece is also super easy. All you're going to do is, if you look at the back over here, there are multiple pins that this is connected to. We can just lift this over here and then just slide that out. The same thing, just lift it in the edge, and it has a little bit of elasticity. You slide that out and then just pinch on the middle part of this clips, and then that comes out. Pinch here and that comes out. And this is loose. Now we can transfer that to the new cluster. On to transferring this leather piece to the new unit over here. Exactly like how it came out earlier. You're just going to align this in the back. And if you look at it, the pins align perfectly. You're just going to push this in, and it just goes in. So right here, everything is good to go. This is fully secure. Now we're just going to grab the side piece here. There you go. This is secured. This is good to go. So we are in the final stage of this installation process. Before we put this in over here, let's go ahead and do a quick test to make sure that everything is connected securely. So the red plugs into red, the black plugs into black, and let's see if the screen powers on. There you go. We got some power here, so we know that this is good to go. Let's go ahead and make this official by installing this fully. Now, because we already plugged in red and black here, let's go ahead and connect the yellow as well. This is for the USB, so let's go ahead and connect that one, and we should be good to go after that. So we're going to plug in yellow, again yellow with yellow. There is this arrows that are aligned, and there you go. That's it. Now we are good to go. We can go ahead and fully install this. In this next step, what you're gonna do is make sure that the USB cable is out. You can hide some of this other cables inside. What we're gonna do is first start probably on the front, and then we'll make our way to the back. And you just have to slide this inside the steering wheel, and then just make sure that this is aligned. All the clips are within the bracket and look from the other side and make sure everything is super aligned on both sides. And that's when you're going to make sure that it fits in. So as you see, it went in over here. Then we can go ahead and clip this in, just push this in on all sides. So let's do that. As you saw, as you heard, one side went in, the other side went in. After you have everything secured over here, this is good to go. What you're gonna do is pass this cable through either this edge or this edge over here, so we can securely put this pin back on. And if you pass it through this edge, you're gonna have plenty of space. So let me show you how that looks next. As you see, the back leather piece is fully plugged in, and we're taking this out from here. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna bend it through here so it doesn't fall on this clip. We're gonna put a masking tape over here so that it stays there. Then we can put the panel back on. Now the very final step of this installation process is you gotta align the dash and then just push this in. Make sure that it goes all in. You might have to apply some force, but this is good to go for us. Just be sure to reinstall all the panels that you removed earlier, including this, the other side, and the bottom panel. So I just finished installing this, and the graphics are pretty cool, and you control all the UI through this scroll wheel. So if you press the scroll wheel up really quickly, you get the settings. Press it down really quickly, the settings goes away. But if you just press it once, that is when you see different UIs. So as far as the UI option, when this is the main UI where you can see the door open, door close. If you scroll up, you will see this dial over here. Then you scroll up, you see another dial over here, and this dial has the percentage, the battery percentage, the range, the gear, it shows the speed. Then you scroll up. This is the one that just shows the speed in the middle, and then the battery information in the bottom, and the gear on the top, and then the headlights and tail lights and turn signal. All of these UIs have turn signal and everything there. And then you do this. This is just the time. This is the current time. You scroll up. This is the TPMS, so you'll see the tire pressure at all times. Then if you scroll up, you get to this driving screen. This is where if the autopilot is selected, it becomes a little bit easier to see, and then we're back to that first screen we started with. So as far as the settings over here, it starts with the 12 to 24 hour clock, the time zone, speed, you can change from kilometer to mile, the TPMS, from PSI to bar, car model, Model 3 or Model Y, color, you can change to different color. Interface style is the day versus night setting over here, language, English. There is the update. You can do the update over here, but if you press on it right now, it says no system update file. That's because we gotta insert the USB with the update file on that USB port that we routed earlier, and that's everything that this settings menu have. Scroll down fast, and then this goes away. When you first enter the car and there is nothing turned on, so you haven't pressed on your brake, this is what you see: car off. And you got that 3 sign for Tesla Model 3. Here is that dial UI, much like a traditional looking dial. This is pretty cool. If you like dials and traditional looking cluster, this is probably right up your alley. And it changes, as I say, the display brightness as we change on the Tesla. This also changes. Here is the UI where it just shows the speed and basic information. Very simple, minimalist UI over there. And if I put the car in turn signal, you see the turn signal. This is just a very simple, like what everybody has been asking for, just the simplest speed in front of you, a little bit of a larger display, but it has all of that information right there. So you also do have an option to see your tire pressure screen at all time. If that's what you wanted, you can put that up. Or I just like that you can scroll through different options and not have to see anything versus the dial versus any of this. Is pretty cool that they allow you to do that. The time or just having that tire pressure in here. This also supports night mode, and to turn that on, over here you go, and then on the settings you can go and change it from interface style from auto to night mode. But just keep that in mind, it will not follow the car. So if you change the car to dark or white, it's not going to follow it. It will follow the brightness but not the night to day, and we have seen that everywhere else. And then this auto just means that at a set time this is going to just turn to black from the white screen. So if I press on it, change to light, there is also the dark version. So this is the night version over here, which is pretty cool that they offer the night version, and the display looks really, really nice. Of course, we are in the middle of a day, so it is going to be a little bit hard to see everything on the display over here. So this is what the night mode looks like. Really cool. I like the interface for the night mode and the day mode. And as you see, if I change it through, the dark mode is really nice. They did a really good job with the UI, but it is missing some features, and we'll talk about those here in just a second. But if you look at it, this is pretty cool that the night mode version is. Let me go to a different UI. So that's the dial. That is another dial. So you can see that is in park, and you put it in drive. It's there. They put everything in a pretty nice place where you can see it. The autopilot is, we have autopilot available, the speed limit. You got the range over there. So it's pretty nice. And then when you start driving, it will show the speed. Now I want to show you the energy bar over here, and I think the dark mode is a little easier to see. If you look at it right here, those are your energy bars. So if I accelerate, you see the energy go up, and then if I decelerate, the energy goes down. So again, accelerate, decelerate. So that's pretty cool that they got the energy visuals up there. Here is what the charging UI looks like. As you look at it, it says charging. It has a really cool charging animation going from the right side. So it shows the charging animation, really cool. So like the other displays, there is one thing that I want you to be aware of. If you look at it, autopilot is available right now in my car because I have FSD-based beta. Even though this is an unmarked road, I do get access to autopilot everywhere I go. And as you see right there, the autopilot indicator is on. That means the autopilot is available. However, if I put the car in autopilot, so let's move a little bit, and then I'm gonna put the car in autopilot. The car is in autopilot, but this does not change at all. So this is because it is in beta. If the autopilot software was just the regular autopilot or enhanced autopilot, that thing would turn blue and it will show that it is in autopilot. But here, because we're in beta, it just shows that the autopilot is available, but it is not going to show the blue. And we have seen that in the past as well with other displays. Unfortunately, they don't make these displays are tested for beta, I guess. This is what it looks like from outside over here. It just looks like a little ball. This is what it looks like from inside. You can see it's a floating ball. I noticed a bug where the unit showed kilometer instead of miles, even though I had changed to miles in the settings. I informed them about this bug, and within a day, they sent me a patch that took care of the bug entirely, which is very impressive. Now for the software update, remember there was this USB input when I showed you on the installation earlier, and all we're going to do is plug this into this USB-A input. I have already loaded the software into this device over here, so let me just plug this in, and then we'll see what this shows over here. It says UDISC has been inserted, app update, and it is just going it. Start verifying, start identifying files. That was really quick. As soon as it detected the correct software update file, it started doing that. So the update fixed everything. So right here, there is the 151 miles now, which matches with the Tesla's 151 miles, 64 kilometer. It shows miles per hour on the top. The dials were kilometer per hour. Now it is miles per hour. That one was miles per hour. Now it was kilometer per hour before. So wow, they fixed it. They fixed it with the patch. I really like that. So after thoroughly testing this instrument cluster display, here's my verdict. Let's start with my likes, and then we'll move on to my dislike. First of all, I really like how well this display is integrated within the Tesla's interior. It matches Tesla's UI. It has HD graphics. It allows customizations of different UI options. And they also listen to some of the feedbacks that we have had on other displays in the past of having a instrument cluster that just shows the basic information in big fonts. And they incorporated that here within this display. So that's another big plus point for this one. But most importantly, the graphics, the quality, it works. It does what it is supposed to do. Show critical car information directly in your view. It doesn't look tacky. It doesn't look like cheaply made. It is a high quality product. So for that, I commend them. This is a really great option. If you're looking for an instrument cluster display that shows you all the critical car information directly in front of you, that means turn signal, the hill hold, the light, the autopilot sign, all of that, just showing you in front of you, this display does an amazing job with high quality. I also really like that this is a steering wheel mounted option so that you can adjust the height of this display on the go, what you like, what you don't like on the height, and then the proximity towards you or the far back. It does all of that, and that's one of the big benefit of having a steering wheel mounted display like this. Now, a couple of things that I do not like about this instrument cluster display. First of all, the autopilot sign, I couldn't get it to work on FSD beta, but that's a common problem we see on other displays as well because this comes from China, and I don't think they have cars with FSD beta easily accessible over there, so they couldn't do a lot of testing out there with the FSD beta installed. That is at least what the other manufacturers told me, is they don't have access to that data. I even did some testing for some other companies on some of their instrument cluster display of having the FSD beta data. So if you have an FSD beta, the autopilot is not going to show on the instrument cluster. But if you have a regular autopilot, a navigating autopilot, that should show. And I'm taking the word from the manufacturer for it. I couldn't independently test it. I installed this on my Model 3 with the FSD beta. I also think that this is a bit overpriced. This is on the high 400s, even using my discount code. And for a system that does not have navigation or CarPlay or Android Auto, any of that, I was a bit disappointed on the price. I was hoping that this would be somewhere in the $200 to $300 range, but it is in the high 400s, almost $500 for a display that does not have advanced features. I get it, it's a circular cluster, and in the past when we talked about the circular cluster, it takes a lot of resources to make a circular cluster versus the rectangular cluster. And I get it, and it's a high quality product. It does what it's supposed to do, but still not having those advanced features, but still being very expensive. I wish it was a little bit cheaper. So in the future, recommendation for the company, make sure that the autopilot works with FSD beta and either add advanced features to this display or figure out a way to lower the cost. I think that would be my recommendation. What do you all think of this instrument cluster display? Would you get it for your Tesla Model 3 or Model Y? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your likes? What are your dislikes? Does this meet your expectations, meet your needs for an instrument cluster display? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you very much for your continuous support. If you do want to check this out, I have a special discount code Shiba Tesla along with the link in the description below. Please come back again for another Tesla accessory review. We have a lot of Tesla accessories that we're currently testing, and we will be posting those reviews here soon. Thank you.